electoral reforms in focus as National Assembly interacts with stakeholders.
A single-day election will reduce costs, minimize disruption to economic and academic activities, maintain voters' enthusiasm.
House of Representatives Committee on Pension meet pension administrators.
We are paid about 286,000 retirees.
Plus, updates from state assemblies. Good evening and welcome to NTA Parliamentary News. I'm Amina Saidu. Political parties in Nigeria are proposing an amendment in the Electoral Act and the Constitution for the Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) to take over the conduct of local government elections and all general elections to hold on a single day. This formed part of 35 proposals presented by members of the Inter-Party Advisory Council at an interactive session with the National Assembly Joint Committee on Electoral Matters. John Yako has details.
IPAC is also seeking amendments on the regulation of campaign finances, electronic transmission of election results, penalty for Electoral Act violators, election of electoral umpire leadership rather than appointment, among other areas, to improve on the process.
A single-day election will reduce costs, minimize disruption to economic and academic activities, maintain voters' enthusiasm throughout the process.
This is the beauty of legislative democracy. The will of the people is sacrosanct. Citizen participation through elections is the foundation for any democracy.
We do not improve on implementation of the Electoral Act for the next elections, our country's democracy could be severely challenged.
17 out of 18 political parties adopted the position of IPAC as they presented their memoranda.
A petitioner or even a respondent may require expert evidence, which will be a product of inspection of electoral documents and which may occur post 21 days period.
INEC staff, especially those who are at the polling units where votes are cast, where cameras like the police in the US and other countries, do. In the Committee of Nations, we should avoid a situation where we make ourselves a mockery of technology disposition.
The last election, NTA election, we voted electronically, and it came out well.
The Joint Committee is expected to meet other stakeholders before presenting its report for consideration on the amendment of the 2022 Electoral Act. John Yaku, NTA News.
Still on electoral reforms, the President Court of Appeal Justice Monica Dongban-Mensem is advocating that all pre-election matters are resolved in future elections before the inauguration of elected officials. This is one of the submissions at Day 2 of the interactive session between the National Assembly's Joint Committee on Electoral Matters and the Judiciary for the amendment of the 2022 Electoral Act. Again, John Yako has details.
Justice Monica Dongban-Mensem, represented by retired Justice Peter Olabisige, submitted that Section 246, subsection 3 should be altered to reflect the finality of the decision of the Court of Appeal, including pre-election matters from national and state assemblies.
You discover that in pre-election matters, you take somebody to court, that person had already won in the election tribunal, while the pre-election matter is going on side by side. You now find out that election petition tribunal said the person you are challenging is actually the winner of the election and is the one nominated to be the candidate of that political party. They now proceeded. Appeal now comes to the Court of Appeal. Say the Court of Appeal decides today that the judgment of the tribunal is affirmed. That is, that same candidate whose nomination has been impugned actually won the nomination at the primary election. You now go to Supreme Court, and you now find that it is now said, well, that person who has been affirmed by the tribunal is actually not the winner. Take the certificate and give to this.
It is the only governorship election that has two levels of appeal. It starts from the tribunal, comes to the Court of Appeal, and then goes to the Supreme Court. Whilst the others actually start from the tribunal, some of them end up, all of them end up at the Court of Appeal. And meanwhile, even the presidential election starts at the Court of Appeal, which is the trial court, and ends at the Supreme Court. So it's only the governorship election that has that two levels of appeal, and we feel this is grossly anomalous.
Other stakeholders are also in agreement with submissions at the session.
On the issue of termination of pre-election matters, it's an anomaly. And as rightly suggested by the Lord Justices, this anomaly had to be corrected.
The court becoming another INEC, if not the alternative INEC in mostly cases that are taken to court.
We need to engage our governors. We all know that amending the Constitution will require a lot of things. We know what they have done on the issue of local government autonomy until the Supreme Court came up with this judgment.
Once everybody feel involved in the process, then abiding by the final product will no longer be difficult.
The committee promises more of such consultations across the country to arrive at a credible electoral system in Nigeria. In Abuja, John Yaku, NTA News.
Let's have an overview of the two-day interactive session with stakeholders. Our correspondent, John Yaku, had an interview with the chairman and co-chairman, National Assembly Joint Committee on Electoral Matters. First, the co-chairman in the House of Representatives, Adebayo Balogun. He speaks on the essence of this interaction with political parties and the judiciary.
Actually, the essence of calling for this retreat is to create a synergy between the National Assembly, the political parties, and the judiciary. This is one of the stages of the reform, the electoral reform that we're actually undergoing, because to have a very robust discussion that will lead to a very good outcome, there must be synergy between all the operators. And today you could see that from the presentation of the judiciary, members of the Court of Appeal, most of the political parties were actually pleased to be here. They were even very happy to be here because many of the information they never knew before were actually being rolled out. And people have a feel of why judges take some of the decisions they take. Today, many people now find out that, look, most of the decision taken is based on law, not on sentiment. It's either according to the Constitution, the Electoral Act, or the party constitution. So to be a politician, you must understand these three major documents. You must know them in and out. It's not just about having the followers. You must understand the process. And that even to change the Constitution or the Act is also a function of us. We can make a change whenever we feel that something is not okay. It's not just for us to complain. Many people are now saying that they can also be part of the change of the amendment of the Act or the Constitution. So this is a feeling some people are actually getting today. And I think moving forward, for us to call for a better Nigeria, everybody must come together to participate. Because if you participate in a process, you actually support that process, the product of that process. We believe by the time we finish with the amendment of this Act, everybody will be satisfied because they also played a part in the process. And that is what we are trying to do, to have a very open process for everybody to participate and also have a feel. And at the end of the day, there will be a connection between the Act and the judiciary that will interpret. Because if you are part of the process, you understand the spirit of the law, why that particular session was made. Because sometimes it's the non-understanding of the spirit of the law gives different interpretation. That's why you have some cases where at the lower court you get a particular judgment, at the appeal you get another judgment, because the spirit of the law was not actually understood. So by coming together, having discussing the process together, everybody will be on the same page by the time we finish. Even the political parties will no longer say that judgment are now being brought in the court. They know that is a process that actually leads to it.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Let's also hear from the chairman of the committee, Senator Sharafaddin Abiodun Ali, as he sheds light on what the committee has done so far on the 2022 Electoral Act amendment process.
The best we have had so far in terms of legal framework for electoral process is the 2022 Electoral Act. But as soon as, because of the interest that the 2023 elections generated, a lot of people had to pinch holes into the Electoral Act. And we saw that there are still areas that require some amendments, or there are lacunas. And as such, when we came on board, the Joint National Assembly Committee, the Senate and the Reps, we decided that after studying the process towards making the last one and the law itself, we decided that it would be better that we get every Nigerian involved in the making or in the amendment of the law or making of a new one. And we are focused at ensuring that we engage all stakeholders. In doing this, I think so far we have had 2 retreats in the country. First of all, at the technical committee, where we had the main stakeholders, the National Assembly, INEC, the legal practitioners, especially some who are of the inner bar, and who are very good, or who are active participants in election petitions. So we decided to look at the law, and thereafter we had another retreat in Lagos, where we continue what we're doing. After that, we have had 2 zonal legislative interventions. One, we realized that the importance of the youths in the election process, and especially their involvement in the 2023 elections. We had a zonal legislative interaction with the youths in the southwest in Ibadan. We also went to River State in Paracourt, where we met with the women, and we are planning to go to other zones on other parts of the country. Not just zones, to so many states. We'll go, at least each zone will go about 2-3 times, so that we'll be able to, 1, visit most of the states, and also get more and more people involved, because there is this gender equity that people are complaining about, not just about women, but the disabled, all other people that we refer to. We want an inclusion, so to say, of all stakeholders in whatever that we're doing.
So what is next after this?
Following from this, we just realized now that there will be need for us, apart from going to visit some other zones, there is need to have another retreat like this, where we bring in election practitioners. Because we have had the judges now, from the judges, their views, what they have seen, and they have proposed amendments, not only to the Electoral Act, but also to the Constitution. And in this case, I did appeal there that every one of us, our party leaders, there's none of the National Assembly members or governors or members of House of Assembly who did not pass through a political party, that they should please engage our governors and the members of the House of Assembly, that after, and even National Assembly members, because we are still going back to plenary to take it to the members, that we should think more, have the paramount interest of this country at heart, and think more of having a law that will endure for all times. We don't want a law that will be made for me or for today. We want a law that we can all say it's our law, not because it favors me today or does not. And we want to also deepen our democracy. There should be internal democracy in our political parties, and also the respect for judiciary and a lot of other things. And we want to instill more confidence of the people in INEC. That's exactly what our aim is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, John, for putting those interviews together. Much appreciated. Moving on, concerned by the hardship being faced by retirees in assessing their entitlements, the House of Representatives Committee on Pension is engaging pension administrators and other critical stakeholders to find a workable solution to the issue. National Assembly correspondent Isa Mohammed has more.
Appearing before the committee are pension fund administrators and other relevant stakeholders with a bid to understand their role, trust, and funding of the scheme for a better life of retirees.
There's supposed to be increment in pension payment to pensioners. What have you done to keep behind this policy? Or have you started implementing it? Or what are your plans towards implementing it?
Since our inception, we have paid about 286,000 retirees benefits along the entire spectrum of benefit payout.
It is the accrued right that is the problem. Because if you don't pay the accrued right, it makes it near impossible for you to be able to pay the person his lump sum benefit and for him also to choose the methodology that he wants to adopt.
Chairman of the committee, Hussaini Muhammad Jallo, assured Nigerians that the National Assembly will reshape the scheme to restore the confidence of retirees in the pension policy.
By the time this committee finishes its work and submits a report, I have no doubt in my mind the pension industry in Nigeria will be better, will be more better than we met it before. And that will lead us into the amendment of the Pension Reform Act 2014. That has been in place, 2014, that has been in place for over 10 years. This committee has already started the process of amendment of the Act. And this engagement we are doing with the PFS and PFs will give us an in-depth knowledge about the operations of the PFS and PFCs that will guide us into the amendment of the 2014 Act.
The public hearing continues with other stakeholders. From the National Assembly, Isa Muhammad, NTA News.
We now pause for some messages. News continues shortly.
NTA Parliament is a dedicated 24-hour channel that broadcasts activities of the Nigerian Senate, Federal House of Representatives, and all the 36 state houses of assembly. NTA Parliament, strengthening Nigeria's democracy.
You're watching NTA Parliament News. You can follow these newscasts and other programs on the platforms displayed on the screen. Sokoto State House of Assembly Joint Committee has directed the Ministry of Land and Housing to allocate plots of land within the metropolis to the family of late Gwandu for the establishment of an Islamia school. Nuruddin Abdullahi Adeli reports that the Joint Committee comprises of committees on public petitions and that of lands, housing and urban development.
Presenting the report on the floor of the House, Chairman of the Joint Committee, Aliyu Lumo Osman of Tangaza Constituency, noted that a petition was submitted to the House on 14 May 2024 signed by one Nuruddin Abubakar Gwandu on behalf of the family of late A.A. Gwandu against Murtala Abdul Qadir Iya, Commissioner of Land and Housing, Numerical Empire and Investment on allocation of land, fraud and peaceful land grabbing along Kano Road, Sokoto. The chairman explained that during the Joint Committee investigation, it was established that the land was given to late A.A. Gwandu since 1995 by the state government to establish Islamia and mosques, but up to the time of his demise, he was only able to construct a mosque. In 2022, the state government, via letters of grant of statutory right of occupancy, allocated the plot to the company, revoking the early allocation of 1995. In 2023, the allocation was cancelled, which was reversed to the late A.A. Gwandu family on work-of endowment basis. And also in 2024, the reversal was cancelled and reallocated to the same company.
The committee was mandated to investigate the petition and to make recommendation for the consideration of the Honorable House. The committee was given 2 weeks time frame within which to report back to the Honorable House.
The Deputy Speaker Kabiru Ibrahim, who presided over the sitting, announced the House unanimous resolve to consider and approve the recommendation contained in the report, with a call to the state government to allocate another piece of land to the late family of A.A. Gwandu within the metropolis to establish Islamia school as wakaf to their late father under the custody of Zakat and Wakaf Endowment Agency. Similarly, the chairman of Public Service Matters, led by its chairman Abdullahi Muhammad Randa, met with the officials of Ministry of Local Government and that of Local Government Service Commission to discuss ways to enhance synergy in the discharge of their responsibilities for effective service delivery. Part of their complaints are lack of promotion of staffs as well as non-implementation, which chairman noted the committee intend to address in order to give local government staffs in Sokoto equal treatment with colleagues in other states and federal government service. They promise to give committee maximum cooperation and abide by the rules and regulation guiding the conduct of their activities. In Sokoto, Nuruddin Abdullahi Adili, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Niger State House of Assembly Committee on Education, Science and Technology has advocated the reopening of secondary schools earlier shut down due to insecurity in some parts of the state. The committee made the disclosure during an oversight visit to ministries, departments and agencies under its purview. Musa Mikael tells us more.
The visit to some of the ministries, departments and agencies under the House Committee on Education, Science and Technology, led by the chairman of the committee, was to ascertain the 2024 budget performance by the agencies under its purview and also get feedbacks and challenges that the Parliament can assist with legislation. The first point of call was the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, where issues bordering on closed schools in some parts of the state due to insecurity were trashed.
Severally, we've been getting requests from communities that they want their schools to be reopened. It's a security issue. You know, once you have lists of schools from the security saying this place is a security-prone area or bandit-prone area or whatsoever, and that they have advised that schools should be closed. You know, you are not supposed to open them without their own inputs.
Ministry of Tertiary Education, that of Science and Technology, and Institute of Technology and Innovation, Abdul Qadir Kure University and College of Education, Mina, were all visited by the lawmakers, where the challenges and prospects were discussed.
For the ministry to function as it is, sincerely, the overhead that we're being given on a monthly basis is not enough. We have a lot of other sundry items that we're supposed to be doing that we'll not be able to, do. So the House they've taken it and they want to assist us to ensure that these things are improved upon.
Please get the Ministry for Science to be the secondary school under science. We want to get them to the Minister for Science and Technology so that from the secondary school we'll be able to have those that have the talent and also gifted to be equipped.
Issue of the funding arrangement. As institutions of higher learning, when we need funds, we have to apply through the ministry and through the Ministry of what they call the Finance. So there are instances where you find all these commissioners are away, probably will travel for official function, and that in a way often leads to delay in releasing our funds.
Just funding, just funds. We have the physical infrastructure here. The manpower is out there. We just need to attract them, just to, pay all the necessary dues, get all the equipment, and then we are good to go.
Chairman of the committee, Mohammed Idris, say the committee will come up with a comprehensive report that will be sent to the executive to aid in the 2025 budget preparation.
The essence is for us, after finding out this, we intend to approach the executive towards ensuring that at least we have the required performance of the budget, just as we so desire. It's not just about having a very huge budget, it's about the performance of that budget. Our intention is to ensure that we encourage the executive arm of government to have at least, even if it is 60 to 70% performance on their budget, and that's what we're going to do.
He also speak on the issue of closed school.
The ministry had given us all assurances. We're waiting for them to come with their report. They said they have a report from the security, from the police. Let's study the report together. Let's see those. We can start gradually. Let's see those ones that do not have much threat now, and then see how we can come up with mechanisms towards ensuring that there is real security in such schools, so that we can reopen and then our wards can go back to school.
Findings of the committee are expected to be presented at the floor of the House for further deliberation. Musa Mikail, NTA News.
And that's the size of our bulletin at this time. I'm Amina Saidu. Good evening.